Well, during the toughest times in life, it's important to have strong support. And the care members of the Southwest Medical Hospice team not only understand the importance of support, but view the grief process as a journey. Mike Davis visited Southwest Medical Hospice to learn more.
The death of a loved one changes our lives forever. And embracing the pain of the loss is something no one should ever have to go through alone.
When a patient and a family decides to join hospice care, we recognize they're in a world that they never even imagined.
The care team members at Southwest Medical Hospice understand in order to heal, caregivers and family members must be allowed to mourn and view the grief journey as a necessary process. Grieving before someone passes away is known as pre-bereavement or anticipatory grief. It's a critical time, and Jeff Long and his team are there to support families during that period.
During the pre-bereavement, obviously the patient is still on service, is on our care. So they're receiving support from a doctor, from nurses. Family has social workers, so there's all these different team members aware of also the emotional side. And so often the nurses and the doctors will call after they're listening to a loved one or caregiver, really identifying their pre-bereavement, the fears. They're like, I thought we would have longer. How do we get here? What do we do now? What happens next? A lot of times I'll get called in on the pre-bereavement, again, before death, for just pre-bereavement grief support counseling, just to be able to listen, and to offer emotional support, to offer resources, just to kind of walk with them in that tender journey.
And Southwest Medical Hospice has many services available after a loved one passes.
Not only are they getting phone calls from our chaplains, I'm following up with families, introducing our bereavement services. We have weekly grief support groups online that we've been hosting through the pandemic. For those who wish to just connect with others who also are walking through their own grief and loss. I also continue to work on grief counseling in the bereavement side ongoing. I'm always sharing with our families, we never really know what we need when we need it. So there's always ongoing introduction of our services. We do a lot of grief counseling for families of all ages, couples, individuals. And there's also grief care resources that I send out to our families strategically at different times of the year, simply to stay connected.
And when it comes to experiencing a loss, it's a difficult time, but Jeff has some ideas about how we can best support someone during that time.
In our culture, we've never really understood how to handle death. Now, we've all probably had our own death experiences, or we know someone who is walking through that. And so being in our humanity, we want to try to make someone feel better when we see someone hurting, but it is unfortunately super hard to find the right words. So my first suggestion, remove the burden of trying to find a right word, because honestly there are no right words to take away someone's loss. Being present with those in the journey. Why do we show up to funerals often? We don't really know what to say, but we love the family, we're honoring our friends, and we want them to know that we're here for the long haul for support.
Thank you, Mike. Such an important thing to have support during that hard time. For more information on Southwest Medical Hospice, visit smalv.com or call 702-671-1111.